Happily, I have been informed by an old sparrow acquaintance of mine, Mr. Albicollis, that a new home has been built within the territory. Again there was a chatter. Where? Have you seen it? What is it like? It's on the northern side of Dimwood Forest. Newhouse it's called. It's half a day's trek from here. Gets me wondering again. Okay, so at the beginning of the book there's this nice map. So when I look at this map, I can see that they live in Grey House, which is right down here. And Newhouse is way over here. So Grey House, Newhouse. Look at in between the forest where the Mr. Okax lives. It's going to be interesting. Can't find my place. I'm sorry. That's so far. Almost another country. I've never been away from home. I bet it's not good, not so good as this place. Lungwort held up a paw. The talk stilled. This new house is reachable by tar road across the bridge beyond the new field, which I've been informed has abundant food. Ah, that's better, because if we go back to our map again, and they're down here, right? So here's tar road, so they just follow it up. They go across the bridge, they go around the forest over to Newhouse, so they don't have to go through the forest at all. Perfect. Sounds safer to me. Let's see if we can get back here now. Lungwort. Okay, I just read that. Okay. Somebody else can go. Wonder what kind of food there is. I do well there. Naturally, I'll need to investigate Newhouse with care. Would I get a room of my own? Can I share? Can I keep sharing with Tansy? You'll never get me to go. I won't bunk with Husk. Further, there will be much organizing and packing to be done. I hate the thought of packing. Too much to do to move. I just put together a whole new room. Finally, Lungwort went on, we will need a delegation to go through the formality of applying to Mr. Okax for permission to move. This time, Lungwort's words brought silence. Every eye looked down or away, except for Poppy's. She could only stare at her father in revulsion. How could he even suggest such a thing? No, no, Lungwort said severely. Mr. Okax has always been most accommodating. Need I remind you that he protects us from porcupines? We all know about porcupines, don't we? We do indeed. Have you seen so much as one porcupine in these parts for years? Not one. Proof enough that Mr. Okax is holding up his end of the bargain. As long as I'm head of this family, I expect us to do our part. Asking his permission to move is an insignificant sacrifice to make for our well-being. All right, then, Lungwort concluded, looking around. Any questions? Poppy had no idea what Ragweed would have asked, but she knew it would have been something. Good, Lungwort said. I thank you for your attention. Go about your business. I'll keep you informed as always. Poppy, be so good as to remain. I'd like a private word. With much excited chatter, the mice scurried off until only Poppy, her parents, and Basil remained. Can you tell me what's going on? Basil asked. You're really looking bad. Poppy, trying to find the words to tell her parents about Ragweed, had closed her eyes. Basil tugged at her. Poppy, did something happen to Ragweed? Poppy gave a quick nod. What? Poppy, her father called from across the parlor. I'm waiting. Poppy opened her eyes and turned to Basil. Stay close, she said to him. I'm going to need you. Slowly, Poppy crept towards her parents. Basil trailed behind. As his daughter approached, Lungwort drew himself up with a show of dignity. Well, Poppy, he said, I suppose I should be grateful that you managed to find time for a family meeting. Papa, Poppy began, you see. Suddenly, sweet Cicely asked, "Poppy, why did you do to your nose?" "It's that—" "We can deal with her nose later," Lungwort interrupted. "What I wish to say first, Poppy, is this. As I made my announcement about the house, you did hear it, didn't you?" "Yes, yes." "When I mentioned making up a delegation to go to Mr. Oak's, I was saddened that not one of your brethren or sisterin would look me in the eye. It was as if they were fearful. But you, Poppy, were steady on the mark." That reminds me of something Mrs. Noiser would say. Okay. "Your eyes never wavered, straight and loyal. I admire that in a young mouse. Therefore, I have selected you by way of a reward, and it is a grand one, isn't it, Mother?" Sweet Cicely, brushing at her ears, smiled thinly. "Right then," Lungwort continued. "Poppy, I have selected you to go with me to Mr. Oak's." "You what?" Poppy cried. "I know it's an unlooked-for honor, but you heard me right. You will join me when I go to Mr. Oak's." But, Poppy tried to find words, but could not. "But what?" "But Mr. Oak's just ate ragweed," Poppy blurted out. There was a stunned silence. "Ate ragweed?" Sweet Cicely finally gasped, her voice half gargle, half squeak. "Did I hear you correctly?" Trying to stop her tears, Poppy nodded. "When?" Lungwort demanded shrilly. "How? Why didn't you tell me?" "I barely got back," Poppy sighed, "and when I walked into the meeting, I couldn't just say—" Pouring the tears from her face, she whispered, "I couldn't." "But to be eaten by Mr. Oak's," Lungwort sputtered, "without even informing me?" Sweet Cicely suddenly turned on her husband. "Oh, stop that!" she cried. "You need to know. We need to know what happened. Poppy, go on." Poppy, her heart heavy, stammered, that is, Ragweed and I, last night we went out to Bannock Hill. I mean, we had never been before. It was such a beautiful summer night, and we thought it would be romantic. It was lovely. He had just asked me—" Poppy paused to look at her parents. Certain they would not be sympathetic, she decided to skip some parts of her story.